Hi, it's Randy Burke again, CEO of DCS Global, talking about RFPs. Yeah, so RFPs, they're proposals, they're not tenders. And so many things are important, but truly accurate data is key. That you've got square footage, you've got actual cleaning specifications, site specifics, really good instructions, obviously the closing date, but how to ask questions, when the tour is. It's important to get the qualified bidders, of course, that fit your property, the size of the company, a relationship, and proximity of doing work in your area. And benchmarking is important. Currently, it's always good to get cleaning inspections done prior to the actual RFP or any changes so that you know where you're starting. So the building information surfaces in terms of how much, carpet versus tile, how much common area versus tenant space, how much retail space, what's included in the cleaning that's not included in the cleaning, all of those things. And cleaning specifications, we're a big proponent of outcome-based specifications, also with some typical where the periodic work is actually stated in terms of the frequency. And the site specifics, again, detailed information, any contracts that may be government, anything that is, again, unique to that particular building. Often, of course, you'll have 2 or 3 or more buildings in one RFP. Clear instructions where questions are to be directed. There should be a question and answer period when it ends. And then all questions go to all bidders along with the answers. And yeah, the operating conditions and your contract, what your standard contract would look like. So again, I mentioned getting a cleaning inspection to start with. Selecting the bidders, again, what you're really looking for is the type of companies that match your facility, whether they do a lot of retail, office, industrial. Of course, you'd have a specific document release date, but be prepared to answer questions through addendums. On the bidder tour, normally it's an hour per building. Have them meet initially, explain some of the rules of the game, walk through, and then typically come back together and see if there's any final questions that can be answered as a group. So when you're actually looking at the proposals that come in, you're going to want to see, do they understand your building? Not just are they looking to do the base cleaning, but what are the value adds? Pricing, of course, is important. Break it up into labor and such. I speak to that in the next slide. And then awarding the contract, you're going to need to give 30 days notice to the old contractor, even if you're renewing, because you are starting a new contract. And the startup period is a key time. The first 2 months are fairly intense normally. Any upgrade work needs to be completed. The actual day of startup, there's typically a move out of the old contractor the day after a move in, so best on the weekend if possible. And schedule lots of check-in meetings with you and your operations group and your service provider. So we'll be moving forward into more topics. As you can see, sustainability, that's come a long way. Real technology for buildings, risk management, and partnering. So thanks so much. We're always happy to be mentioning our partners, associations that we work with, and we will look forward to our next meeting.